When we take a look at the age range of 10 to 12, that really is a time of blossoming creativity. And it's a wonderful opportunity for parents to really help to connect the child with the world and to help them see themselves as part of a greater universe. These are the minds that can create and explore. And sometimes our children between those ages of 10 and 12, they can even come up with some fantastic discoveries and inventions when their minds are free and we give them a wholesome view of the world. I think back to the time when I was a very creative child, but also a lesson that I learned about how you have to shape a child's understanding of their connectedness to the rest of the world. Now, I loved making doll houses. I loved designing houses. I even knew how to create a blueprint. I would draw a blueprint out of different rooms and where the furniture would go. I just loved creating houses. I would create them, out of big boxes and, big furniture and have it Barbie doll sized, all the way down to the tiniest house I would make out of a shoebox. And with the shoebox houses, that was really interesting because I fashioned little cardboard and clay and just made all kinds of little furniture and cut out windows of the outside of the shoebox so you could look inside. I make a pointed roof and just the whole thing. I just love creating houses. Well, I was also one of those children that ran around with the other children, liked to catch insects. We love to catch lightning bugs and we love to catch grasshoppers. Well, grasshoppers are fascinating. They've got those jumper legs that push off and give them a lift so they can fly. Well, we love to catch grasshoppers. And one day I looked at my shoebox. I'd made a wonderful house out of a shoebox. Had a living room and a dining room and a kitchen. I mean, I made little toilets for the bathroom, everything, little beds. I love that little house. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have some dolls that fit this little tiny house? And I looked at the grasshoppers. Well, grasshoppers were just the right size. But if I put them inside the house where they had those jumper legs, they could jump away. Well, I wanted dolls that would walk around in my house and on my little furniture that I could look at. So when I'd catch the grasshoppers, I decided I didn't want them to be able to jump away and fly away. So I snapped off the jumping legs. Catch the grasshopper, right at the joint, snap the legs off, and then I'd put them inside the house and watch them crawl around and try to get out and crawl around the little furniture. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. I can watch my little live dolls walk around in my house. Catch another grasshopper, snap off the jumping legs, and then put them in a house and they crawl around. And oh, look, I've got to make a little family. So I catch another grasshopper, snap off the jumping legs, and put them inside the house. And oh, they'd walk through the different rooms. I could pretend, oh, look at this. I got a family in my house. And I was catching grasshoppers, snapping off the jumping legs so that they couldn't fly away. Because usually they need to jump to create a lift so they can start flapping their wings and fly. Well, if they don't have the jumping legs, they can't fly away. And so they were my little dolls that I could play with in my little shoebox dollhouse with all my little furniture. And some of the other older children, they would watch us catch grasshoppers and they'd watch me snap the legs off. And they were trying to appeal to my ability to empathize. And they would say, well, now, how would you feel if somebody broke your legs off? But I was like, yeah, these are just grasshoppers. I don't care. Hey, I was like, look, these are mine. I can do what I want to do with them. So I catch some more grasshoppers and snap the legs off. And they're crawling around. And of course, they can't fly. And I'd put them inside my little house and watch them crawl over all my little furniture. I go, oh, I've got living dolls. Well, Years later, of course, I am aware that grasshoppers, like all life, are sentient beings. And just because I couldn't hear them scream in pain doesn't mean they were not screaming in pain when I snapped the legs off. I was unconscious and cruel because I didn't empathize them with being a being, a live being, someone with feelings like myself, someone belonging to a family and a community like myself. I didn't feel what they felt. I didn't empathize with them. Today, I feel such deep remorse. And if there was a way I could apologize to all of the community of grasshoppers and let them know the shame, the regret that I feel at my ignorance, I would do it. But I know all of those grasshoppers were there now living in spirit, which once you cross over, you understand ignorance of those who harmed you. But it still hurts me that I was ignorant. And it hurts me that I hurt others in my ignorance. You know, there are people in this world, they have that same consciousness that other people are things they can use for their amusement. And people with that consciousness create systems that they put people in to use, and they don't have any sense of remorse at pain that they're causing. People who might think, oh, I want to have this great factory that produces products that gives me money. And so they hire people and maybe don't treat them well, or maybe fire them for the slightest little infraction, or maybe don't pay them well and they're struggling and suffering and can't feed their family. But for this person who thinks like I thought about the grasshoppers, you're here for my benefit. You're here for my amusement. I don't feel your pain. You don't matter. Well, this is why instilling empathy in our children is a critical point in their development. At the foundation, they must see themselves as part of all life. They must know that all things are alive, all things have feelings, all life matters, and we're all here to take care of each other. You look at how the insect kingdom works together with the bees, all part of the beehive, the ants, all part of the ant colony. Everyone does their share of work. Everyone shares in what the group has. This is the mindset of the children we're raising now. They must think as a collective and see themselves as part of nature, because nature is here to help you. The trees give you oxygen to breathe, and you're giving them the carbon dioxide that they breathe in. So we're all one system. This is what we must teach our children. And in those ages between 10 and 12, it's critical that that be a part of their understanding of life, because they're about to go into puberty. And if they have not understood empathy for others' feelings and all of nature and its reproductive systems, and how all beings have families and communities, and it's all based on love, if they don't understand that, they could easily be manipulated to use people. I'm going to use your body for my pleasure. I'm going to use your emotions to get what I need. I don't care about you. You're a thing to me. This is what we must make sure never happens in this coming generation. So when we can connect them with nature, we can help them feel how the trees breathe in our air and breathe out for us, and how the trees give us love, how the grasses give us love, how the insects give us love. When they can feel that, when they can see the animals and see that these animals have families and a culture that they honor each other, native age, between the ages of 10 and 12. So we're going to bring in our dear sister, who is a nature child, having grown up in the South and now been reawakened with the consciousness of how all life is a part of the one life that we're all expressing in our individuality. So, thank you so much for joining us to give your wisdom in lesson 9, ages 10 through 12. Zelda speaks.
Shalom, my sister. Thank you so much for having
Shalom.
me today.
Yes, well, we thank you.
And you're looking gorgeous as usual.
Oh, well, I'm just a reflection of you.
We are a reflection of each other.
Absolutely. Well, I love the fact that you've got all of your children there behind you. You
All
know,
of my babies.
yes.
Mwah.
I wake up every day and I have a living room full of plants, and I speak to each one and ask, how are you doing? You need some water. I test their soil. And I'm starting to feel, it's like feeling their different personalities. So it's such a beautiful experience when you become aware of all the life that's around you, and you become aware that they're affected by your feelings and you're affecting their feelings as well. It's a beautiful realization.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So now you grew up in I guess the country.
Yeah, I grew up in the country. Actually, I was born in Chicago, but
Mhm.
when my mom passed when I was 9 years old, I was sent south to live with an aunt. So that's
Mm.
how Tony used to say, you need to quit telling people you're from Mississippi. That's where my folks are from. That's where I went when my mom passed. So I got a chance to live down there a few years, and it was not what I wanted, but I am most grateful for it because that is where I learned to live in nature. We grew up on the south side of Chicago. On at the time that I moved south to live with an aunt, we were living in the projects.
Concrete.
Concrete. Ain't no dirt nowhere. And the dirt is in the sand. Excuse me. The dirt is in the playground. We stay as far away from the dirt as we possibly can.
Mm.
We were on the swings and all, and we had something called a gangway. We play in the gangway, but there was
Oh
no
yeah.
dirt. There was no dirt anywhere.
Yeah.
So the fact that I was sent south to live with an aunt, it was not a good experience when I was a child. I couldn't appreciate it. I didn't know anything about nature. I know nothing
Mm.
about nature. Before we lived in the projects in Stateway, we lived on 63rd and something. I don't know, but there was no dirt. It was concrete. So that's all I knew was concrete.
Yeah.
But having being sent south at the age of 9 or 10, one of those, and feeling a sense of abandonment that nobody wanted me. I didn't feel love. I felt useless. I felt unwanted, and I would do anything I could to feel better. And for some reason or another, I got to thank my Aunt Edna for this. Edna Edgar
Mm.
put me in the dirt.
Mm.
Put me in the dirt. She showed me how to take a row of dirt and part the dirt and plant seeds in it because she was a farmer. She was
Wow.
a sharecropper. So,
Wow.
a sharecropper is one step away from being a slave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that she was, because I didn't know what sharecropping was at the time, but I know it didn't sound good and it didn't look good from what I saw because we had nothing. We had a
Mm.
roof over our head and some grass and the ability to go to the cotton field to pick some cotton if we wanted to eat. So that
Wow.
was my experience. But getting back to the dirt, in the dirt is where I like found myself. I, not found myself, but I was discovering myself because I'm still discovering myself at this point in life.
It never ends. Yeah.
That dirt experience was the best thing that ever happened to me. Second best thing that ever happened to me. I don't know what number it is, but our experience going to Florida
Oh yeah.
to the second annual Women's of Wonder
Oh
retreat.
yes. Yeah. That was great.
We were staying next door to the ashram and we went for because I'm on this walk and kick, I kick diabetes, how I reverse type 2 diabetes. And I'm always telling people that you gotta, as Susan Powder used to say, you have to breathe, you gotta eat, and you gotta move. I got the first two down.
Mm.
Breathing and eating. Oh, I got those down pat. Not so much. So we're taking a walk that morning, and there was three of us, Darylyn and Viata.
Yeah.
And I'm behind them. I'm catching up. And something said to me, don't go that way. Go this way. And I'm thinking to myself, look, you're in not a foreign country. You're in a city a neighborhood that you know nothing about, even though it was she poo poo and it was very nice and lovely and all that stuff. But we live in a time of uncertainness, and you're walking down the street by yourself.
You don't know these people.
And these people don't know you. But what was so lovely about it, a lady saw me walking and she waved at me. This was a white lady. And I was like, oh, okay.
Southern thing. Hey. Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm a country girl. I speak that, man. Hey, man. But back in the day, you got beat down if somebody
you didn't speak
to you and you didn't speak back. Oh, you got issues.
Yeah.
So walking down the street, there's just trees everywhere. And it's like, wow. And it's like I see these trees with the eyes of a child.
Wow.
And it's like the trees were talking to me. It's like, come over here and see what I look like. See what I feel like. Touch me, feel me. And I was like, I'm not losing my mind. No, I'm not losing my mind. I'm still here in this body and I can see and I can think. But long story short, that was the most amazing experience I have ever had in my life.
Wow.
With trees.
Yes, they
trees. Do you hear me?
Yes, they are living.
I used to think Oprah was crazy. I'm gonna hug a tree, girl. Please, what you smoking? You have some tequila, right? Hug a tree, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But when you mature, you find things out differently.
Yes.
Also, at the women's retreat, when you were talking, you were on the microphone, and we're sitting over here running things. A bee. You remember that? The bee on the switchboard.
On the switchboard. Yeah, right on the key.
The keys on the computer. And I was like, okay, Zelda, don't kill the bee. You're learning. Because my little brother used to collect roaches, and I thought he was crazy too. Put him in a little jar. But we were kids. You experiment with that. But the bee was on the keyboard, and my usual thing to do is to swat it like you did the legs of the grasshopper. But I didn't. And I said, okay, Queen Bee, I know you're here to teach me a lesson. I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to be patient with it. And then it dawned on me, the lessons was in patience, to let nature do what it does and not be in a hurry to kill it.
Kill something just because they exist.
And because you don't understand it.
Yeah.
You don't know the purpose of a bee. We're in trouble now because bees are about to become extinct.
If we don't have enough bees, then we don't have the pollination of our crops, which means we can't eat. So,
and that's why we're eating plastic food now. We think we're eating food on the table, but we're not. And you've been blessed with a garden, so you know what you're eating. Most of us don't have a clue.
We buy it and we eat it, and we don't know who cooked it and or grew it and where it came from, because it might have came out of a lab and we just eat it.
It did come out of a lab. And that's the one thing that our children don't know today, is that it's not food. If you have not been, I was eating a strawberry last night at Willie Wilson's the Polish Congress event. I'm eating a strawberry, and I bit in the strawberry, and I was like,
"Don't look like the ones I saw down south."
That strawberry was white. Since when is a strawberry white on the inside? A strawberry is red.
Well, I didn't know that they color fruit so that you don't know it might be rotting.
Yes.
So if you bite into an apple and it looks like it's bleeding on the inside, and where the red is bleeding into the white, that's food coloring. That means you don't know how old that apple is. They're making it look red and shiny, but that ain't what it is.
Just like the meat.
Just like the meat.
Like meat. You think you're not eating your food, you're eating byproducts.
Yes.
It's a byproduct of the original food. So
yes. Well, this is the thing when I speak about how people who create things for their benefit, they don't care who they're hurting. They're looking at how to make a profit. They don't care that they're feeding you plastic or things bioengineered in a laboratory. They're thinking, how can I make things more profitable for myself. You're the things that I'm using to
Mhm.
enrich myself.
Mhm.
That's the mindset that exists.
Mhm.
And just like when they put hormones in the food to make the meat, bigger and beefier, and they don't care how they're affecting that animal, and they don't care how us eating that flesh is affecting us. When now we got 10-year-olds that are able to produce a child because their puberty has been sped up because the meat that they're eating has hormone injections to make it bigger and fatter so they can sell more of it. All
And
of
we don't
this.
teach our children that. We don't teach them where the meat comes from. They don't know that it's been slaughtered and that it was poisoned before it was brought to the table. They don't know that the moment that animal knew that it was about to die, it released a hormone in its own body that's destroying you right now.
That's
And
right.
you wonder why you have headaches
Right. You're eating the death
and backaches,
energy of that animal, the stress hormone that comes
bone aches.
living in constant realization that you are about to be killed, and there's no sensitivity in these massive corporate farms of the feelings of the animals, so they
Mm.
don't care. They're absent in terms of their awareness that this is a living being with a family, with a child perhaps, and you don't care if you slaughter the child in the presence of the mother. There's just no awareness of that being a
None whatsoever. You're not taught that in school, and they're not going to teach you that in school because they don't want you to be aware of the ability of your ability to
to do something different,
do something different.
to not support that. And this
Not
is
to
why,
support- And you have a choice,
yes, you have a choice. And
and
this,
you're made to feel bad if you don't follow the choices of other people. That's
yes,
where peer pressure comes in. Well, somebody once said peer pressure was the no tradition is the peer pressure of dead people.
I like that.
And we're about to have
The
a lot
peer
of peer pressure from dead people right now because we're about to celebrate a holiday, and holidays have nothing to do with the love of nature. It has the to do with the love of money.
And I think of all the slaughter that comes to turkeys because someone decided, okay, this is going to be the traditional bird that we eat on this day. And so you have turkey farms where turkeys are raised to be,
And the turkeys are this big.
and the turkeys are huge because they've been
Huge.
hormones.
Oh,
And
yeah, get that big old turkey. Yeah, it's plenty of us. We'll have enough meat for the whole week. You ain't got
mm,
enough poison for the whole week, but that's you. Ever
so
had a Thanksgiving turkey? Not a Thanksgiving turkey. At Thanksgiving, a meatless. Well, of course, you have. You're vegetarian. A meatless. My first meatless experience. The food was so good. Well, see, we didn't have meat as a child. Meat was something
that's like
extra.
a luxury.
It was
Yeah.
a luxury, and now we eat it every day, and now it's poisoning us. It's poisoning us
Yeah.
day by day, minute by minute. And you can't see that now because you're 9 or 10. But as you get older, 20, 30, 40, 50,
Feel it.
by the time you eat your 60s, oh, baby.
All of it comes. And this is
All of
why
it comes
we gotta instill in those young people an understanding of what is right so they can decide to not eat poisonous meat and to be more humane to the animals
to
that
the
they come
animals.
in
Yeah,
contact with.
I love it. I love
It's
the
so
babies
good.
that are vegan, vegetarian.
Yes.
They're so smart
Imagine
so
that.
early.
Yes.
They haven't been poisoned by the adults who've been indoctrinated that you got to have those 3 meals a day. You really only need one.
Mhm.
And all of the other, everything that they teach us. But they don't teach us this, Naima. They don't teach us about dirt therapy. When you come home in the evening, that's the first thing you do. Keep this at your front door and stick your feet in that dirt. Have
Wow.
a chair right there at the front door, unless you want to bring it in your living room or bedroom or wherever. Stick your feet in that dirt because it calms all the nonsense down that went out there before you came in. It centers you. There's a synergy that goes on in the chakras in your being for you to feel good because you leave all that garbage behind because you are now in nature. See, nature is where the secrets are. And they don't want you in nature. They want you to stay in that box. You get
Yeah,
up,
it
you get up out of a box. You get in a car or a train. That's another box. You go to job. That's another box.
Mm.
And wherever you go after, that's another box. You're not in tune with nature. As,
Wow.
as Paula, I can't remember her last name, said, we are the conduit. There's nature in the sky. There's nature before us. And when we align with ourselves with nature, oh,
Yeah.
magical things happen. It's not magic, it's nature. It's
Yeah.
true.
And there's a reason why they call it Mother Earth. So when you
Mother.
stick your feet in the earth, then you get all of the nutrients that's in that soil that Mother Earth has provided for us. And everything in the soil is good for the soil. You look at earthworms, they're loosening up the soil so that the plant roots can go down into the soil and get those nutrients. So
Mhm.
everything in nature works together for the good
Together.
of everything. We got to do the same. Be in harmony, be in love, be at peace. And
Take kids to a farm so they can get some peace.
yeah,
What was that place we went down southern Illinois? Was
Pembroke.
it Pembroke.
Yes.
We went to the berry farm.
Yes.
Well, the stalks were this high, like trees, and we're walking through them, and it was such a peace. It was almost overwhelming. I was like, wow, this is
Those
special.
are the kind of trips we want to take our children.
You can feel it. You can feel it.
Yes. Take them to farms, take them where
Animals.
free, take them where they can see fruit growing on a tree. You know, children in the city don't see.
They don't know about horses
growing on a
and
tree or
donkeys. They don't know about that. We don't teach them that. They're in the
packaged
city.
up. Yes. They don't know stuff grows out of the ground.
No, not at the supermarket on the shelf. It doesn't grow out the shelf on the supermarket. It grows from the ground.
I offered a friend of mine. I said, I grew some greens. I want to bring you some of the greens that I grew. And my friend says, I don't want to eat nothing that comes out of the ground.
Are you serious?
Where do you think everything comes from? But of course,
He didn't know. And how old was she? Was she an adult?
This was an adult, and
I rest my case.
Adult raised in the city that just didn't make the connection between things coming out of the ground and what you put on your table to eat, because everything that we buy in the supermarket is packaged up nice and you know, plastic wrapped and everything. We don't
do it all fancy, smell good.
Yeah,
Price is right.
comes out of dirt.
Anything for $1, I'll take it.
Yes.
So you can't see it now, but your body will share that information with you some years later.
Right.
It may not be a long time. There's so many young adults, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, who have. I'm in therapy for my knee.
Mm-hmm.
I am asking my therapist, where are all these young people? Are they all athletic? Where are all these young people coming from? She's like, no, they have health issues just like older adults. And I'm like, what? She says, activity, some not enough, some too much, and their diets.
Now, before we go, what do you remember about the difference when you left the city, the concrete, the projects, and went to the country and actually experienced dirt? Did you see more young people, like maybe with their shoes off, or?
Oh, all the time. We very seldom had shoes on. And that gave me a better understanding of children, because children don't want shoes. They don't ever want shoes on. They want to run naked and free with their feet.
Freedom. Yes.
So that we walked in the dirt, like walking down the street with no shoes on. And when I first got there, and I was like, why doesn't everybody have shoes on? And it wasn't explained to me. It was just, they just said it was hot. And I'm thinking to myself, well, the street is even more hot if you don't have shoes on. But as time progressed, I came to understand that when your feet touch the ground, especially when there's dirt beneath, there is a power that you are given, that you already have, that is ignited.
And it's coming from the earth.
Coming forward. And they're not going to ever teach you that in school, because they don't want you to know the power that you have within you, that exists in you, that you were given to at birth. And they beat it out of you with TV, radio, cell phones, everything. Don't get quiet. Do not spend 5, 10, 15 minutes, an hour to yourself first thing. They don't do that, because you will never know.
Right. Get constant noise, electronic devices, but you can get your power back. Just take off your shoes and walk on the earth and feel the soil and feel the energy from Mother Earth, and you will be renewed.
And if you do a little deep breathing with it, because right before this interview, I had a headache. We had such a long day yesterday.
Mm.
And that is what I did. I sat and I said some loving affirmations to myself. And I asked myself, what was myself trying to tell me? Why do I have a headache? I never wake up with a headache. It's like
Mm.
you've been a little bit too hard on yourself lately. So just sit here and love on yourself. So I loved on myself just by breathing and by being quiet for 30 minutes. I sat there for 30 minutes and just breathe, inhale, exhale through the nose, like I do on the show on Monday Morning Mindfulness. And it
Mhm.
calmed me down. It's like, my headache's gone. You knew that before it happened. You just hadn't practiced it. So
And that's the best thing we can teach our children, how to calm themselves down by just breathing. They don't need to be hollered at and beat because they're upset. Just help them calm down, breathe deep, take off their shoes, walk in the soil, breathe in, and go and hug a tree. And
go and
you
hug
know,
many trees. Find you a plant somewhere. Find you lots of plants. You know,
yeah, breathe in some natural air. We have all that we need to get our children calm and peaceful inside. We have to go back to nature and help them rediscover who they are as part of this beautiful system of life.
got a problem? Find yourself some nature. Go walk in the park by yourself.
Yes.
Go near water. Water is non-resistant. You
Water
gotta
is
go.
healing too.
Even when it's snowing, sometimes I do walk by the water. I don't stay long, but I do walk by the water. And when I sit there in the grass, I ask the questions that I need answers to. And they don't come right away. Sometimes they do, very seldom they do. But if you ask and then move on, giving thanks for the answer, even though that you don't have the answer, it'll come sometime during the course of that day
That's
or the next day
the secret.
or the
That's
next week. But if you ask, I promise you it will come. That's what I say to any 9, 10, 11-year, 12-year-old is just to learn to be okay with yourself where you are. Give thanks.
yes.
Be grateful because somebody somewhere does not have what you have and they are in a state of chaos and confusion. You know, there's a system for everything. Just like if you go to work or school, you get on the bus. Or I should say, you pay your fare and then you get on. If you uh, if you go to school, there's elementary school, then there's high school, and then there's college. You don't skip one and go to the other unless you're super smart. But there's a system, there's a systematic way of doing things. And if you are living and working in nature, you will begin to understand how nature works and how you're a part of it. And you don't have to
Yes.
kill bugs or any of that good stuff. Like,
That's right. You'll know that everything has a right to life and everything will enhance your life if you let it. So let that bee land in front of you. Let that fly buzz around. Let the ants crawl around because all of them are living their lives and they're enhancing the earth and the earth is enhancing them and we're all a part of it. So we need to be in harmony with it. And when you're a young person, if you get that lesson early, it'll shape your life forever.
makes all the difference in the world. I just wish you had been around to tell me that when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, now that we know, we're sharing with the world and we're sharing with the young people so they can know what we know and they'll be that
'Cause
much further ahead.
those are your most precious years, 9 through 12.
Yes.
You
You
have
want
no
to live
worries.
free. Run in the grass with your shoes off. Feel free. Be able to holler and scream. Feel free.
Mhm.
Feel joy. Because you know, whatever vibration we send out, the plants feel it, the air feels it, the bird feels it.
Mhm.
Whatever we put forth, we're adding our
Mhm.
energy to the universe.
Mhm.
So let's share the joy.
And you want that energy to be good energy because you're in control of your energy.
Yeah. And there's
That's
nothing more beautiful than the sound of laughter of children.
So just remember, start your day and end your day some kind of way with nature, in nature, with some dirt or a plant or some kind of way, because that's what will keep you centered in times of chaos and confusion. And when you don't know nothing else to do, go in a room, get quiet, even if it's in the bathroom, sit on the toilet and just breathe for 5 minutes. And I promise you, it'll make a difference. Because when you breathe, you slow down the processes that the mind and the system, because it's always going 100 miles an hour. So just start breathing.
Yeah.
And don't be hard on yourself. The
Yeah,
world will do that for you.
that's right. Tell yourself some loving things. I am wonderful.
Affirmation.
Beautiful. I am kind. I am intelligent.
I
I
am loving.
know.
I am loved.
Loving. I am loved. I am loved.
And that's part of the loving process, because they teach us to look for love outside of ourselves. Baby, love is an inside job, because when you learn to love yourself, you will not accept crap from anybody else. It's like, oh, that's what you're on. Okay, well, thanks for sharing. Have a good day, and you move on.
That's right.
Self-love is the most important love on the planet. It's not out there. When you love yourself, all the people that who truly love you will be in your life, and those who don't, they will just drop off, just like dead flies.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And we
It's been
want
an honor.
our people to take heed.
Thank you, my sister.
Walk in nature.
It has been, as Les Brown would say, a plump, pleasing pleasure. Thank y'all here.
All right. Yes. Yes. Love yourself, because you are a part of the world, a part of nature, part of Mother Earth.
And that's when all you desire will show up in increments. It's not going to all come at one time, but you've got to start the process. And you start the process with what? A breath. Inhale deeply through the nose, and exhale the same way. Close your eyes, get quiet, and I promise you, if you want something different, you got to do something outrageous. And that is just that. Start breathing on your own, by yourself. People look at you crazy, but that's okay. Just
blow it out.
blow it out.
Think outside the box.
Yeah. And if you got a little garlic, a little onion on your breath, trust me, they're going to step right back.
I love it. All right. We are going to follow your lead and breathe.
In the words of Layla Hathaway, just breathe. What a wonderful way to start and end the day.
Absolutely. Do it now.